All right, the first thing I do is I'm going to put 2 lines of tape here that stick out past where the material will be glued onto that tape. Then I'll also be putting tape on this surface. All right, it'll look something like this when it's ready for glue. One side is taped. This will be the side that sticks to this side. And we spray them both with glue. I have to use high strength 90 3M. And so if you move quickly, get these little kind of like, it kind of comes out like this, right? And so you get this kind of ribboning of thin amounts, and that's getting to be excess, but not a ton of excess. And I have done it with just tape here. It works fine. I just like the whole of this whole thing in general. After gluing, score away some of the spots of the gluey tape from the main article, and you really just don't want these to move around, and you want to have the piece overall security even when those are cut away, and that'll be enough area of the item. Screw these in as position setting screws. These are used to keep the piece from moving around and have them in the exact location so that when I place this down in, it winds up being exactly where I would want it to be. Once this is placed into the locating layer, I add this top layer right here. This is the new modified version of it, right? And that top layer goes right here. And that's the rear of it, oops. And that goes right here. And yeah, and it locates those holes right here. Each one of them. And you get those holes, and you put the same type of screws on. Like this. So, I'll show you. A couple more in here. Once these are all in and everything's located, I use a spacer here to keep these from being depressible, as you can see here. Even these, when I made them, have a little bit of depression to them, but I am able to counteract that by, yeah, my process is pretty sound. I use a 5/16 bushing and a 1/4 inch end mill 2 flute spiral bit with a flat cut on the bottom to route out these channels one at a time with 3 to 4 depths in something like a 1/8 of an inch thick plate. What is it like when you open it up? Nothing crazy. There's a little bit of debris here and there. Grab this guy, sweep it around if needed. So, Sigma 2. And these ends are unattached, center unattached, and this end unattached. For the most part, could be a little bit glued. So you just kind of run this along like this. There you go. You have it loose like this. Pull these pieces up, You pull these pieces up right here. No big deal if that happens. You pull these up. Okay, there you go. Came loose. Still straight as could be. Just fold over this in the back. Peel that tape off. Pretty easy. So you're left with 4 pieces of scrap and a couple pieces of tape to remove, and your item cut, some debris on the inside, ready to be cleaned up or prepared for the next cut, the holes. The next stage is marking the actual locations according to the known jig for the part. So the part and the locations need to match, if that makes sense. So I use the part jig to make the location. And I devise the locations based on known dimensions of the specific part. Each one's a little bit different. They all have a little bit different nuances, but this is used on like multiple different designs. But this is used on, its placement is different. It's like nuance. The placement is different on a few different things. But it's used to make the other items. And then I have other ones here. This is for the Delta. This is for the Omega extra slot. This is for the Omega. This is the rails. And as you can see here, this is for the Gamma and the Sigma. It's a multi-point thing. And then there's some other stuff, some of the jigs I have around here. You can see there's one there, there's some stuff here, and spare parts. I got some random spare parts I got. Yep, that's kind of how I keep the garage. Got wood down here, jigs there, powder coating large bags, powder coating bottles, mini oven, wax potting, and some parts up here, some aluminum parts. And then I got my drill, got my oven, and I got my tabletop, my workshop tabletop, and then my secondary top, sanding, and then aluminum parts. And just more aluminum. I got some aluminum in my bedroom. And then there's some other older jigs. So all my old stuff, I keep all my old stuff, just because why not, for reference. All right, so in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this size 41 drill bit to tap all these holes, drill all these holes with basically like a guide hole based on their located little spots I've created. Step is a slightly larger drill bit. It's the final size for the through holes. Here we go. A little bit of a nasty sound, so do this. A rapid tap on the tip. Front side, front side. Okay, here we go. Enlarge it. Now, the last and final step. Sanding. I set them up on a baking tray wrapped in foil. That's upside down. I got two sets of retaining screws and the back side of the panel here for black powder coat. All right, the process of powder coating, you attach an electrode. There's a box that puts a charge. You can hear it. This problem's going through something that isn't solidly connected. So yeah, some of the spots in between the foil and the you just kind of paint the powder across. And I like to get a first layer that just establishes all the way across the surface. And after I do that, let's look at these guys too. I like to come in at a couple of different angles. Like that. Come here. Here, and you can overdo it. If I were to keep going, or have a higher flow rate, then is recommended, or just keep going. It's quite easy to overdo it, but you actually have kind of a wide berth of range for application. A little bit, I believe, a little bit wider of a berth of range than you do if you were to try to single layer apply paint. So therefore you do save time. And pop it in the oven. I'll show you that. Just goes in the oven right here. And we wait about 20 minutes at least. That's how it looks after I've done the back side here. Place it back down on those. And one more coating. Try not to do much on these at this point. One more coating over here, and then cook it again. And then I'll do a hot flock, and I'll show you how that's done. I apply a coating while it's hot right out the oven, and it does this as the little particles hit. And then I let it sit for a few seconds and kind of polymerize, then I can put it back in. So the final outcome is this very fine texture. Across it, like this. That's it, to match the center face.